All right, quick video, going to be detailing some of the Fantasy Jewel black line things you might find helpful to make your copy work. Couple of things I do want to point out. If you don't have one already, do realize that your green lion is going to be the only lion with screw holes facing outward. They basically did not copy these directly from the original, so what they basically did was utilize some of the same designs they used for Red Lion. They gave the curvature in the individual parts very similar, but they used the Red Lion leg style, and they used the Red Lion head directly. Still good looking overall appearance. Some things like the wings are actually thinner than on the original. Thin this way, not thickness. Thickness is about the same. They very closely copied but re-engineered a lot of things. The gold on the belt is a big problem. I actually ended up taking some alcohol, wiping what was basically just a spot of gold chrome after touching it a few times, and used a gold model enamel paint on that. Seemed to have solved that. I also took care of the yellow lion, gave him better eyes because they were kind of thinly painted. I take a chrome marker, and then I use Citadel Blue Technical, which is like a clear coat paint, and with very small applicators. After the chrome had fully dried, I went over, so now they're a metallic blue. Look a lot better. So you'll also notice that I have the replacement tails. I had to get a pin drill to drill these because initially I had broken my yellow lion. So this is now glued in place on this lion. And instead of the awkward kind of bluish gray these tails all came in, I've spray painted this one silver, and I have painted this one all yellow. Did not get the yellow to match. It's kind of an orangish yellow on this, but nonetheless looks better than it did. Also went ahead and gave the tail yellow. The tail, unfortunately, I was trying to remove it for this process like you could do all of the other freaking tails. This one snapped, so I had to glue this back into place, so now it is a fixed tail. But yeah, so let's take a look at a couple of other things real quick you do need to be aware of. And you'll notice the chest does not evenly go across. Also, make sure your shoulders are locked using these here, these sliders. When you do that, you're not going to have these swivel around. I've seen a lot of videos and pictures where these things are all misaligned. These actually snap in a lot easier than my original copy of the original Go Lion. So let's take them apart real quick. Have to be really careful with these. This ratchet is actually still working for me. There's a thin metal rod going from the front to the back of the tail that I believe is a part of this one. If not, there's some small piece that goes up in there, but you can't get to anything in here. And even if you unscrew these lions, this top portion is glued. So you would have to find a way to sever the glue or break it down to get this off, to take the front or take the sides apart to work on the ratchet itself. My red is blown out and now entirely held on by glue, which is rather unfortunate. So I could go the Playmate style and unbolt this and rotate the whole shoulder to move it. I don't really want to invest in another one of these right now. If anybody wants to sell me a Red Lion at a discount, they've given up on the set. As long as this isn't blown out yet, I'll buy it from you. In the meantime, though, this serves the purpose of displaying as lions, which was my original goal for this. Your legs should be locked in like this here. If you find they are not, say like you go to put them on and they want to stop about here, you got to push this button right there and they insert in. When you have it locked down in place all the way, this should be able to fully close these doors on the back. I'm going to take these guys off for now. If you want to flip that door up, get yourself a small enough screwdriver or utensil to gently go through that hole and swivel it back outward. Okay, so people have been struggling with the head, okay? Fold these down first so they're out of the way and they can't be hurt or anything. Now from here, let's experiment. Let's see how the face wants to flip up. Well, let's just pull it straight out, right? Everybody's had that happen at this point. So usually what I'll actually do is I will open the mouth all the way there. That gives me access to this tab. Now at this point, come around here. At this point, and I just actually broke the glue on the tail, no biggie. I fully expect that to be something I just have to kind of finagle. We want to extend the neck all the way. Let me go ahead and get these guys out of the way here. Now we got to play with the head. Don't just assume you have everything right and lined up. Play around with it and make sure you're comfortable with things. Don't force anything too hard. There's a couple of different moving parts in here. Push backwards on the face when you feel like you've got a little bit of give. And now you will find the face, if everything's lined up, wants to go all the way in there like that. It is not easy though to do all this. Now obviously got this problem. This head does not want to straighten up. I'm going to go ahead and close that for the time being, so there's one less thing to worry about. I'm going to press on the back of the head as I shift things back. Now you'll notice this has gone in this slot. Now the question is, does it have enough give to tilt up? In this case it does. If you find that it's catching on something, something's misaligned, play around with it, because mine catches on every little thing. And as you saw, even though I've had time to handle this, it's still hard to get it right. But once you have it right, the mouth can fully close without taking the faceplate off. So there's no major difference there. If there's anything that got really close to the original, they did a really good job on the build of the black lion head. So as you can see, the neck clicks in and outward. Outward is generally going to be your default for the lion, but you can push that back in or whatnot if you feel like it's too long. Now we click these guys outward. Those are one of the few things that really snap into place well. We flip this up. We pull these guys out. Also, if you have these jointed in here, a real quick way of doing this is you can butterfly these joints out. It'll pull that out of the shoulder. That freely moves at that point. This also allows you to butterfly the joints out and give your arms extra range of motion so that you can actually do like a full-on two-handed sword grip by moving the body that way. Also, notice when I'm slotting these arms in, you should not be able to see, say like if you've got your feet in like this, you may not be able to see that too well, but if you can see any of the silver from the lion's toes up there, you have to finagle that out. So usually I kind of flip that a little upward like this and have it like this, and you have to work with it back and forth. But when you get it just right, put this partly down to insert your arms, then close it, and it helps to lock the arms into place better. Otherwise, that foot is actually going to block you. You're not going to be putting anything in there without breaking something or putting undue pressure on your lions there. So slot that back in. This ball joint was really extremely loose when I got this. Nothing seemed to be wrong other than it was just loose. I opened up the other foot to verify this, so maybe the piece of plastic was too small or something. Took some Teflon tape, wrapped that around, put it on there. You could also use Pledge clear floor polish. That'll do the job as well. I had my legs slip off real easy. They should lock into these somewhat okay before you snap down the back there. If that is not the case, you can take some Pledge floor polish, brush it into these. Same thing on the back here. Attach the legs, leave them in place overnight. They'll still come off easily the next day, but they seem to be a little bit more gummed up to hold on, and there's no ill effect to the appearance. Also, I've been able to get a pretty good sheen on my Black Lion where it was kind of really matted paint. That is because I took the Future and over the black parts I brushed it on and let it dry overnight. Same thing with my silver. The silver looked really uneven across here. Once I did that, it seemed to fix all the issues that I was having appearance-wise with that. So the next big issue everybody's probably been experiencing that they're not going to be happy with is going to be the tail. So, like I said, the glue on mine's broken off. They really should have engineered that better. Let's get him kind of into a crouching position just so he's aligned there. Now obviously you can do all types of different sprawls. There's good articulation on this. When it's all said and done, you can get it in a good steady lion pose, and even a good formidable crouch is allowable on this. So imagine the tail still sticking up and not a broken nub here, okay? And also realize that you do have this whole extra bit of curl articulation here. So that's maximum curl. And if your lion's torso seems too short, it is because you do have this extra section that will click in and out there. Just like the head clicks in and out. So tail, you reach this point where it doesn't really want to go where you want it to. It's catching. It's kind of even with this gray tab piece of plastic here. Well, the tail, once you have it kind of parallel with that, one of two moves can take place. If you push it downward, oh look, I can flip the tail up. Okay, that was the default position it was in as a lion, but now I'm stuck. Well, push it from below so that it comes up. Can you see that difference at all there? Notice how there's the grays kind of showing over, and then it pushes down, and it's not. Now if you push this up, if everything's built right, at this point I cannot push up on the tail to fold it back on. I can only swing it downward. If I want to bring it back up, I push it up. I push on the gray so that it sinks even or even below the black plastic here. Now I can only flip up. Can't flip down unless I push back up. So I hope these things are helpful and get you a little bit more mileage out of this guy. Like I said, Black Lion is decent enough and I can deal with the broken tail. This only happened to me because I was trying to pull it off. It was solidly in place before, but if you put tension on this, what they use for these little ball joint nubs is pitiful. And I'm at a point now where I'm not ever going to pull these off, even though I used a pin drill. I don't want to risk putting too much stress because this one had a lot of stress. And like I said, I already had to glue the one on my yellow lion. Another thing, of course, you have this kind of joint that lets you kind of turn the lion's body. You also have the ability to crunch it like that until it's in leg mode and you have the legs down through. It won't do it at that point. But if you're trying to get the feet more flat, realize that as you kind of span the leg outward, you can tilt these guys downward to give them a good leg bracing. That'll take care of that there. You'll also notice like this doesn't pop right out. Most copies it's going to. I used the Pledge floor polish. Coated both sides of the joint. Now it won't just pop right out unless I really force the issue. And I actually don't like to. I like these to stay on since that's a kind of they rearranged the way the whole joint works from the original. It was much more solid on the original. But the heads, there's no reason to take them off of the feet because you cannot take them off of the body. You can do that on the original SoC just fine. You might be able to pop these out of some kind of a joint, but I'm not going to play around with it and try that. Oh, I discovered something. If you are gentle and you're not afraid of breaking something, it does appear they've very tightly done it. This might come out of the body. I'm not forcing this any further though. If it does, what this would mean is you could put it on flight stands like the original, but they really made that too tight. So I'm not even going to force that one. You might find it works for you, but yeah, I'm done. I'm done causing any more damage to these. So tonight I'm going to glue that back into place for cosmetic reasons. Probably keep him as a lion. I am hoping to have another copy of the original, who I will keep in a box forever as a keepsake for my family, or as a future investment, so I don't feel paranoid about tearing up my original copy, because ultimately I'm going to have these guys being displayed as lions, and I'm going to have the original copy be one to play with. That was the purpose of this guy, but he's got too many issues, too fragile. I know at some point in time I have to worry about the fact that even if I replace Red Lion, Green's little tiny metal bar running up through might very well snap because of the tension of these springs and the ratchet, and then you pretty much, the first thing that'll happen is this will just kind of free swing. But pulling it in and out of the body, it eventually snaps, and that's no fun. So hope that works. Like I said, just be patient with the head.